Welcome back to Worth the Work. Today, you're in for a treat. We are talking about the real reason why marriage is so challenging, and we're going to give you four major areas to explore within your marriage or your potential marriage.
Welcome back, everybody. If you're new to our channel, my name is Mamia.
And I'm Emmanuel.
And we've been married for the last 12 years now. And we've also been parents for the last 10 years to four lovely children. Now, our channel is talking about everything marriage and parenting. So let's dive right in. Now, we looked up some of the top reasons that people get divorced. And some of the ones that we continue to see were these top 10 reasons. The first one we saw was money issues. Then came lack of intimacy, infidelity, abuse, lack of compatibility, poor communication, changes in physical appearance, and just unrealistic expectations. Those were the top things that we noticed when we researched that.
Every last one of those things on that list rings true. Yet and still, while they're true, we have found that they all stem from a deeper issue. We have found that there is a root cause that seems to bring up all of those issues in our marriage relationships. So part of the problem, though, is that there are unrealistic expectations in marriage. And if you check out our last video that we just dropped talking about why you should even get married, we talked a little bit about the view that one should go into marriage with and the proper expectation that it requires. Again, unrealistic expectations are part of the problem in this conversation around those things that lead to divorce. However, it's only part of the problem. The real issue here in terms of conflict in marriage and why we see so many challenges, why we find it so difficult to maintain a healthy marriage relationship is this very thing, and that is our flawed nature or condition as human beings. We are just flawed.
Yeah.
We are just imperfect to the core. There's no way around it.
Mm-hmm.
And there are no ifs, ands, or buts. So we are flawed at our core. As an individual, we are full of pride, self-centeredness, dishonesty, distrust, lacking patience. We're easily offended. We are prone to keep record of wrongs. We're not hopeful at times. We can be very inconsistent, and the list goes on and on and on.
And if you take two people who have all these issues that you were just talking about and you put them together in a marriage relationship, there's bound to be issues. There's bound to be problems because we all know, none of us is perfect. But I think at the core, every human being, we believe, is flawed. And when you bring those two flawed people together, sometimes it's a recipe for disaster.
And it begs the question, what did we really expect?
So what do we do with all of this?
It's a great question, and I'm glad you asked.
Mm-hmm.
This video here is actually an introduction to our 4-part series that we're going to be doing on marriage expectations. We realize that we go into marriage with unrealistic expectations, and what we want to do is help you look at your marriage expectations in 4 areas and how to readjust them. All right. And so as part of the solution that we want to share with you today, the first one is adjust your expectations.
Yeah.
Expectations, I think, doom us when we go in with unrealistic expectations.
Mm-hmm.
Anywhere and everywhere that you go, if you go into anything with unrealistic expectations, again, you're setting yourself up for failure. And that's what I think, again, part of the problem is for marriage. These expectations, based on everything that we've shared about the nature of these two people in this marriage relationship, how can we expect this given what we have? And so to be able to come to the table with realistic expectations, that's the first thing that we want to do. The second thing that we want to do, based on everything we've said, is to give grace.
Yes.
Knowing how flawed we are, knowing how imperfect, knowing how much we will mess up, We want to make room for error, allow her to mess up. She needs to allow me to mess up and to be able to work it out, knowing that this is what we're dealing with. Very important. Very important.
Yeah, it's no wonder why we end up frustrated in our marriages and, want to call it quits. So, as a first step, before we dive into the series, we want to challenge you to explore your expectations of marriage in four areas that we've identified.
Communication, money, intimacy, and compatibility.
Yeah.
So for communication, what is it that you expect your communication to look like with your potential spouse? For money, how do you expect money to affect your marriage relationship? For intimacy, what do you expect to experience in the area of physical and emotional intimacy? Very important. And then lastly, compatibility. As you grow together with your hopefully potential spouse over the years, what do you expect compatibility to look like over time? So those are the four areas.
And we want you to actually write those down and just put some thought into what you've been expecting. What's your idea of marriage?
Yep. And for my married folks, we want you to write down what your expectations were coming into marriage and what it is that you're getting right now. Just simply write it down. We hope that you can do this. Write down again what you expected coming in, because Lord knows, and we actually just had a conversation. When was it? Was it this morning? About expectations?
Probably, yes.
Expect what we expected coming in a certain area and what we're getting. And we had to hash out a few things that we were now on the same page about. So for you, as you're married, what is it that you had certain expectations around? Write it down. And what is it that you're seeing? And so we'll take that further after the next video. But that's what we want you to do as this first step before we dive into the series.
So we hope that you'll come back and join us as we dive deeper into these topics, as we explore, some expectations that you should grapple with and you should think about as you're in your marriage, as you're thinking about getting married. Okay. Now, if you want to make sure you don't miss the next videos coming up, make sure that you hit the notification bell. If you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Subscribe to the channel.
That's right.
Share it with somebody. If you know somebody that may benefit from this series, share it with them. Let them know that there's some good information coming forward and they don't want to miss it. Okay. So make sure you hit the notification bell, you subscribe, and you share our channel.
Right. It's been real. Talk to you soon.